And so the reason Katie reached out to me is she's no longer working there, so she's able to talk a little more freely about information. But I think the first thing we should get into, Katie, is so you were the police officer that dealt with Kevin Franke when you returned all of his items.
Yes.
Will you kind of walk us through how you got involved, how that happened, and what the scoop was?
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're talking about Ruby Franke and all that goes with it, all the drama that goes with it. So it seems this is a TikToker of some ill repute. I don't know if it's ill repute, but she has 600,000 followers, and she's willing to use those followers to get whatever she wants by the looks of things. So what has she been doing? She has put out an interview with the police officer who worked on the Ruby Franke, Kevin Franke case recently. And this is mind-blowing, right? So you're going to have to stick with this one until we get right through it, because, oh my God, I can't believe that this is even possible, right? As you can see, she got 600,000 followers, so a decent-sized audience is watching this. And her police officer friend, Katie Ann, came on the show and had this to say.
Yeah, so that happened just a couple days after we served the warrant on the Franke home here in Springville. And Kevin called. He said that he just went back to his home. He hadn't been there in over a year, and that the door was completely demolished, broken into, and that he was missing some items, namely some electronic journals that he was worried about, and that he believed that the person who was responsible for that was his oldest daughter, Sherry Franke, and that he wanted her charged with burglary.
So a lot of this is information which we already know, you know, it's been in the news and everything else, so it's public knowledge. However, I feel like it's very different from someone like myself talking about it, just speculating and just discussing a case, to an actual police officer who worked on the case. By the looks of things, she's not working on the case now. She's not even working for the police department right now. We'll get into that in a minute as well. But it's so much different to what we're doing to what she is doing here.
That just turned into a whole gray area. I had to call my detective sergeant to ask him, like, you know, what are we going to do about this situation? I very clearly told him she's not responsible for the door. We broke that door when we served the warrant, and that she was allowed in the home to collect things for the children that she was going to have in her custody, which was the two middle children. I will make it clear, she was told not to take anything that wasn't for the children, you know, whatever, but like officers didn't follow her around the house to make sure, you know, she was only taking what she should. And even if they were, they wouldn't know really what was for the kids and what wasn't.
So I feel like this is getting into an area where it is not actually public knowledge what was said between two police officers on the phone, for example, and the behind the scenes. We know obviously that Sherry was privy to, you know, the items, and she took what she wanted and everything. We know the basics of the information, but we don't know the inner workings of it as it's been described by this police officer. So I feel like that is really wrong. And to be discussing on an open case where kids are, you know, it was an abuse case involving minors, it seems like being a police officer, you wouldn't do that. I don't think you would, even if it's legal, and I even question whether that is legal. It's definitely unprofessional to do so. Now, this police officer is an actual TikToker, which it actually blew my mind. Unbelievable, because this is what her account is. So she has 32,000 followers on TikTok. I don't get it, right? She is a public figure, I mean, public servant, right? And she's working to help serve the public and make the public protected, but she's not there to give, like, opinions on situations. She's there just purely to, you know, serve the public, and I don't think this is doing it. So she put up a number of posts, including ones which coincided with the live which she went on. So this was her opinions at the time. When you become a cop to help people, but you learn about the unhealthy, dishonest and toxic culture within the police department. Now, she's done this a lot. She's put up loads of posts basically criticizing the police and law enforcement, and I feel like at the same time she's doing that, she's also revealing private information about a case she worked on which involved minors, right? Abuse of minors. So I feel like there's a contradiction, and I mean, if the police are not, treating you equally, obviously you have more than the right to complain and file complaints, and you deserve equal treatment. But at the same time, you really need to take your job seriously too.
It's being edgy, sexy, or cool. I just naturally am not any of those things.
What are you in your head? What are you?
I'm imaginative, I'm smart, and I'm hardworking. And those things are not necessarily prioritized in pop culture.
And by pop culture, she obviously means law enforcement. And this is the thing that I'm getting from her entire account. And I don't know if this was before or after she left the department or the police force, but she's been making these kind of comments and jibes for months and months and months prior to this whole situation, right? So she's also put here, females in law enforcement are so needed, but when they file valid complaints within the department, those need to be taken seriously instead of telling her she is too opinionated. Again, I would agree with that completely, but at the same time, you're on TikTok on a randomer's channel telling random strangers about a case you were working on involving minors. That feels very much more wrong, right? I'm sorry, but it does. So as I said, for months she's been making jibes at the police force. So was she fired for that? Was she fired for this? Did she leave? I don't know, right? Many people can speculate, but I don't know the actual facts there. Now, if we go back to the original interview, it gets worse because the host of this show, who is Julie, with her 600,000 followers, she starts talking about trying to dox where the kids are living right now. The ones that went into foster care. This is unbelievable.
You can't share about active investigations and things, but I can because I'm not part of this.
Sure.
But I've had 3 different people reach out to me with confirmation of this information. I wanted to talk to you guys about Sherry Franke no longer having custody of the kids. So a lot of people in my posts were asking how I knew that and things like that. I'm not going to tell you who's reached out to me in names. But I can kind of give you the gist of how I've found out. So I found out 3 ways. One is an extremely legitimate source who I'm not going to quote, but I trust and know where it's coming from. The other 2 I was told about probably a month or more ago, and I didn't put a lot of stock into it just because I didn't know them. But one of them was the neighbor of a foster home, like a home that takes in foster children. And she had written me to say that the 2 middle girls were now at this home. And I thought, maybe, but there was no proof. I couldn't verify it, so I just left it.
So let me get this straight. The neighbor of the foster family where the 2 middle kids are living reached out to this randomer on TikTok and decided to try and dox them. That is lovely. I mean, if that is true, that's utterly despicable, right? You know that you've got some kids who are coming from an abusive household and they are being hidden away and looked after in a foster family, right? And then you go and try and blab to these type of people on TikTok, that is ridiculous. I'm sorry, but that is where it should have stayed, right? But it's not where it stayed, because this person decides to dig and dig and dig, and it is insane.
The next time, that was about a week or two after that, and another woman reached out to me and said that she was friends with the mom at this home, of this foster home, who took in the girls. So I had two people that then verified it, or said it, but I couldn't verify it. The third person, I could verify it. And so what I did is I got a request put in to the, I say it wrong all the time. Is it Springfield? Springville. Springville, thank you. It's not Simpson. Springville, to the Springville Police Department. So I put a request for information in for the body cam footage and the report from September 2nd, which is the date that the girls were removed from Sherry Franke's home. I wanted to be able to post it and show you guys like the evidence, like the actual facts. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen, because they wrote me back and said that it's denied.
So basically what's happening here is she has had information about where these two middle children were living in foster care, and she is trying to verify that location by getting body cam footage, which is not allowed to be released due to it being an ongoing investigation involving minor children, right? So she has been denied that, but she did want to show us on her little show, which is very disturbing to me.
And it does explain why, and it's because the judge has said anything that was used in the child custody situation, or that will be used in court, it has to be the right to fair representation. So I was not able to get a copy of it to show you guys.
And I find that truly unbelievable. Honestly, I thought it bad enough that she wanted to get hold of this footage just to verify what her information is. But not only that, but she actually wanted to show it on her TikTok. That's right. That is unbelievable. You know, this is involving minor children and should not be like, it shouldn't be a game, really, should it? It shouldn't be a game. But more so, this lady on the right, the police officer, former police officer, whatever she is right now, is just not really helping the situation, and she is she's there with it. She's loving it, I think.
And Katie, maybe you can answer this, but it probably won't be released until after the trial, or maybe during the trial.
Yeah, it'll be after or during. I'm sure this court is going to make this trial public and like live, like who was that? Johnny Depp, Amber Heard. I'm sure it'll be just like that. I would be shocked if it isn't. So all of it will come out, I'm sure, slowly during the trial. But I think the biggest reason they did that is they don't want to give Ruby any reason to request a change of venue for her trial. So the more people around, like location wise around, that see these bits and pieces of evidence throughout the way, her defense can say are tainted, and that they're not going to find a set of jurors that haven't heard about it or haven't seen a video or haven't, already made up some sort of their mind based on these little pieces of evidence. So I would think that's why they're not releasing it. But anything that gets used in court eventually will be able to be released, as evidence once.
So yeah, again, I feel like she is talking about this whilst the host, Julie, is actually talking about trying to dox the kids and find out where they live and everything, which should be sealed, because it is sealed and it should be staying that way. But the police officer, Katie Ann, doesn't seem to be interested in the law or anything like that. She's beyond that, I'm guessing, since she no longer works for them, and she's going to spill the tea wherever is necessary. Now, speaking of the case, which you did mention there, the first case with Ruby is on December the 18th, and that is going to be live streamed. Well, it's going to be audio live streamed. I've already set that up, so I'm going to show you that live here on this channel as best as I possibly can. So if you want to join me, and we'll go through it together, listen to it together, react to it together, see what's going on together, you can come here and we'll do that together. So until next time, please give this video a thumbs up, comment all your thoughts about this down below. Do you agree with my points of view about the police officer not being able to release information or talk about the case? Is there any legalities that I should know about that I don't already mention? And that I'm not from the US, so maybe I'm wrong. It's just my opinion that these things should really be kept quiet, given that she's working for the public, and it's a very sensitive case, as we know. So do that, comment all your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel if you are new, and get me up to 10k, because I'd like that for Christmas, my Christmas present. Yep. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and bye bye.